Here at GUIS.com headquarters, we are proud of our ability to quickly respond to the wants and needs of the market. Having a customer base of, well, just you right now, we find that even casual conversations equate to in-depth market research, and that has revealed the desire for highly specialized fragrance products at a price that is controlled by our customer. Until we work out some issues with the FDA, we determined that the quickest way to serve our customer is by providing this instructional video for creating the desired fragrance products yourself. Welcome to Every Woman Alive Wants GUIS number 5, Essence de Bologna. Doing it yourself. I am your host, GUIS.com President, CEO, and staff, imitating Dan Aykroyd, imitating Julia Child.
Hello, customer. First, it's important to clear up one thing. It's always been a pet peeve of mine. Although I'm not Italian myself, I would like people to realize that the proper pronunciation is not Bologna, but Bologna. So we will be talking about Essence de Bologna. As you can see, I have before me various instruments that will be necessary for doing the preparation, and your equipment may vary, but what's important is that it works for you and that you feel comfortable. You can see that I have a cheese grater, I have a ladle, an egg separator, which may not come into play at all. We haven't actually tested that. We have a plate with a sample piece of Bologna, and our paper towel, certainly our cell phone PDA. We may use for reference, calls to 911 if things go terribly out of control, and some tongs in case we have to pick up some little nasties that we don't want to have to touch. I do have some things going on the stove, but we'll get to that later. Let's see. One of the most important things when processing Bologna is to have the Bologna. So let's go to our freezer and get that. Here we go. Now you may have thought right away, why the freezer? Well, the reason is that some of the processing of the Bologna is better done while it is in a frozen state. So here we have our frozen Bologna. Now, you may also wonder, well, what kind of Bologna should I be using? What you should be using is, well, the best Bologna that you can get, or the cheapest. That was just a little joke. A lot of times the best Bologna also would make the best fragrance, and it may be cheap or not cheap. So, do your best. As you can see here, we've got Carolina Pride Bologna, and as a matter of fact, it is beef Bologna, and it's very good, and you can see it's economical at just 99 cents. So let's take our Bologna and determine what we need to do to turn this into a fragrance product. So we take our frozen Bologna and we set the package aside somewhere. There we go. And a reason that it's frozen is that one of the things that we want to do for some stages is to grate the Bologna. We need fine particles of Bologna, and so that's best done when it's frozen. And you can see I've already worked on this a little bit, so let's just get at it and do a little grating of the Bologna, catching it on a paper towel. And we don't want to get down here to the slicing part or to the very big chunks right now. We want this fine Bologna, and I don't know whether you can see that very well or not. But let me just do a little bit more here, and then we'll see how we're going. Oops, forgot to start our stopwatch, so we can see how much time we have left. Oh, damn it. There we go. Now we've got the stopwatch going. And, well, maybe we've gone 2 or 3 minutes. We may have to do this again. Alright, well, anyway, so we're doing our grading. Now, I don't know about the focus, and we're kind of limited on staff here, so I'll just try to put things close to the camera and see if you can see it. There's our finely graded Bologna on the paper towel. Now, what do we do with this? Well, one of the things that we want to do is to actually get the oil from the Bologna, which would contain most of the scent. And so that's the purpose here. Well, what do you do then? Well, what you want to do is heat your oven. We don't want to cook the Bologna, but we want to extract the oils. So have it in this form where it won't just all be clustered together in a big mess. And as you can see, basically Bologna is just a big mess of congealed stuff that's all smushed together. It's you might want to call it a pate that's been sliced, but it's really just something less than that. Anyway, we shave it off like this, we grate it very finely, and then we put it on, look at the pan. We get our pan, a cookie sheet or a pizza sheet does very nicely, put it in the oven at about 150, 170 degrees. Not really enough to cook it, but enough to dry it out. We do put the paper towel to absorb some of the oils, but partly we want to dry it out and then have it retain some of the oils. So here you can see after having been in the oven, we've got this this state of the Bologna. Now, what would you do at this point? Well, one of the things you would do is to try and make that into a powder, and this is where it gets a little tough, and we haven't worked out all the details, but we didn't want to hold that back from empowering you, our customer, to be able to do this yourself. So what we'd recommend is that you take this Bologna and fold it over with the paper towel this way, and this way, and this way, also it won't come flying out, and then just basically beat the shit out of it. So that it becomes possibly more powdery. And there we go. Now let's see what that looks like. As you can see, maybe you can't see, but you should be able to see that's a little bit more powdery. And in that more powdery form, and you might, for instance, put it in your coffee grinder or in your spice grinder, or otherwise make it into a very fine powder. And then put it into one of these fine products that you've saved from your trips on the road, the hotel complimentary toiletry products. Here we have a nice shower gel. You might like to add it to your shower gel. You might like to add it to a moisturizing cream. This one is lovely. It would complement the natural color of the Bologna. And that would be a good way to go. Often there's just the typical white cream, and you can add it to that, that's fine. You might also actually even enjoy some of the texture of the Bologna, and that might be a reason to not make it in too fine a powder. We don't recommend that you do like toothpaste Bologna. You might, but sometimes you want to taste other things but just still have the fragrance of Bologna, and so you may use a fine lip balm or chapstick type thing with the Bologna on it, so that you have the flavor there. Okay, so that covers one of the methods. Now, what I've also done in advance is to boil some Bologna on the stove, and let's see if you can see this at all. The idea, if you can't see it, first of all, don't be concerned about the discolored look of the Bologna. I realize that it traditionally has a kind of a reddish color. This has been boiled, and the fact that it's also been frozen, but if you can see, there's probably some glistening. You can probably see the oil collecting on the top. So boil it and then simmer in your Bologna. You'll be able to get this oil and then be able to concentrate that oil to do the same thing as we were just talking about with the powder. Add it to your moisturizing cream, add it to your shampoo, add it to your cream rinse, conditioner, add it to your lip balm. So what we thought we'd try here, and feel free to experiment at home, we might just pour some of this liquid over here and use this egg separator to see if we can separate some of the oil. So let me put this back over here, and we don't have anything to, well, you get the idea. That possibly you could spin it around this way and then have the oil up at the top and then spill it off. You probably have one of those special devices where fat separator where the oil is up at the top and you can pour that off separately. So get one of those. It's highly recommended. Now the last possibility here, at least that we're recommending to our customers. Well, one thing I almost forgot here. If you're going to do a lot of grading of your Bologna all at one time, you'd want to use an oven mitt or something else, because that Bologna can really just freeze the hell out of your fingers, and it'll actually be painful. My first experiments, I found that to be true, so please save yourself the trouble and use some sort of a mitt to grip your frozen Bologna. Now, the very last thing we want to get to, and this brings into play the Bologna that's on the plate here, using just the traditional slices. What can you do with a piece of Bologna? Maybe you don't have time. Maybe it's a formal occasion where you're going to be wearing jewelry anyway, but you'd still like to have the fragrance of Bologna. And the thing to do is to take one of your favorite amulets. This one here, a little heart-shaped amulet. It is in a sterling silver, so that it won't stain. It won't. Whoops! We've got almost had a problem there. The dry Bologna on the stove. That does bring up one more thing, though. If you do boil all the water away on your Bologna on the stove, you'll find that it leaves a very sticky residue. And if you get your putty knife, you can scrape the Bologna off of the pan and make a nice paste that then you can mix with one of your fine toiletry products here. And go that route. So there's actually one other method there. But what I'm talking about here, you take your amulet, and I don't know if you can see that very well or not, but if you've seen this video, then you have the amulet, and you can just fiddle with it with yourself. You open it up, and you can just simply take a piece of Bologna, put it between the halves of the amulet, and then clamp it shut. And as you clamp it shut, you'll see that it actually cuts itself to the right shape, and all you have to do is remove the portions that are out there. See, very nicely, it's like a cookie cutter. And there you have your slice of Bologna, very fragrant, and put it on your chain. It comes with, of course, with a very nice chain. And as you can see, if you were wearing a rugby shirt with a nice chain, and this would go very nicely, and there you'd have your fragrance of Bologna with you. So those are the recommendations that we have for you. And of course, feel free to create your own methods and experiment, share it with your friends, all of those kind of things. So we hope that you enjoyed this little instructional video, and we will be providing online support and telephone support during our usual hours, which is whenever it's convenient for us. Thank you very much, and enjoy your Essence de Bologna.